The Raiders are getting slept on. Again, everyone's out here calling this a punt, saying Vegas is stuck in rebuild mode, saying we don't have a shot in the AFC West. But when Howie Long and Tom, two guys who actually know what winning looks like, start talking about this team, you better pay attention. This isn't about rumors or clickbait headlines. It's about what's really being built right now in Vegas. Pete Carroll has walked into that building and flipped the culture on its head. And the upgrades at head coach, quarterback, and even the run game are massive. So, in this video, I'm breaking down what Howie Long and Tom Brady just said about the Raiders, what it means for this season, and why this team might be ready to shock the league. What's up, Raiders fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Raiders. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Raiders. Now, over the last couple of videos, we've been talking about a lot of rumors, trade buzz, free agency whispers, wild speculation, you name it. Take the Trey Hendrickson situation. That was everywhere. Everybody was talking. Same with Jabril Peppers. He's an actual free agent. There's a real chance he could fit into what we're building here. So, yeah, I talked about it. Even Trevon Diggs got thrown in recently. Now, there wasn't direct chatter about Diggs coming, but there was talk about him potentially being traded for a late round pick. And you know what? That gets the mind going. You look at our secondary, you look at what we need, and you start connecting the dots. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but hey, a Raider fan can dream. Anyhow, let's move to the main topic. Howie Long was recently interviewed about this upcoming Raiders season, and the question was simple. What's realistic for this team? Playoff run? Last place in the AFC West? Where do we stand? One of the hosts said he believes the Raiders are being slept on, that with upgrades at head coach, quarterback, and running back, we could surprise some people. The other guy wasn't buying it. He had us finish dead last in the division. Typical Raiders disrespect, right? Here's where it gets interesting. Howie came in with a perspective only a guy like him can give. The minute Pete Carroll walked into that building, the vibe changed. That's not me saying it. That's Howie Long. Pete came in and set a tone, toughness, accountability, discipline. Howie said straight up, this team is going to run a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, heavy formation, and they're going to pound the foot. Old school Raiders identity, smash mouth foot. But the most important thing Howie said came at the very end. And if you weren't listening closely, you might have missed it. He said what I've been preaching all offseason. NFL games are tight. They come down to a few plays, a couple key decisions. If you upgrade your game management, clock management, situational calls, when to be aggressive, when to be smart, you can flip losses into wins. Last year, we had the worst head coach in the NFL, period. No debate. We had one of the worst quarterback rooms in the league. Our running game was dead last. And our offensive coordinator? Garbage. Those are 4 massive foundational problems. Now, pile all that on top of our injuries. We had guys dropping like flies, especially on defense. With all of that chaos, here's a stat that should blow your mind. 8 of our 13 losses were 1-score games heading into the 4th quarter. Think about that. With terrible coaching, terrible quarterback play, no run game, and a broken offensive scheme, we were still right there in 8 games. That tells me this roster wasn't as hopeless as people made it seem. Pete Carroll as head coach, Chip Kelly running the offense, Geno Smith as your quarterback, Ashton Jeanty bringing juice to the back. 4 massive upgrades in the most important spots. Now, when those close games come down to the wire, we've got the people in place to actually close them out instead of folding. And let's not ignore the defense. Last year, our secondary was historically bad. I'm not exaggerating. Worst graded secondary in the entire NFL since 2021. So, when people panic about us cutting almost everyone from that group, my response is simple. Good. They weren't good enough. Burn it down and rebuild it. Linebackers? Yeah. We lost some guys who were making way too much money else. That's fine. I actually think our new group fits this defense better. If our defensive line stays healthy and gets after the quarterback, this defense will take a step forward. And if it doesn't, that's on Patrick Graham. No more excuses. Pete Carroll is a defensive coach at heart, and he's not going to tolerate a coordinator who can't get the job done. This is where Howie Long's point comes full circle. You fix the little things, game management, clock decisions, situational football, and suddenly those coin flip games go your. That's how you go from 6 wins to 9 or 10 without even adding a ton of new talent. And now let's shift to Tom Brady. And I've got to address this because some people online are losing their minds. Tom keeps saying them when talking about the Raiders instead of us or we. Folks, relax. Tom's got a $365 million TV analyst deal on the line. He's being professional. He's speaking as an analyst, not as an owner. Doesn't mean he's not invested. Tom talked about Pete Carroll like a guy who's been there, done that. He knows exactly what Pete brings: stability, leadership, and a plan. In a division with Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton, you need a heavyweight head coach just to have a fighting chance. Brady said straight up, having a figurehead like Pete gives this team a real shot to, and he's right. Last year was chaos. This year, structure, discipline, identity. Pete has built real programs. So, USC Seattle. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't make rash decisions, and he knows how to bring young players along the right way. That's why all this talk about Amari Cooper supposedly blocking our young wideout nonsense. Pete has always played rookies. He's just smart about it. Early in the year, he'll give them specific roles. Here's what you do well. Do that. As the season goes on, their responsibilities grow. By the middle or end of the year, those young guys are full-fledged contributors. Cooper gives them a veteran safety net and leadership while they learn. Is this a perfect roster? Number. Depth is still an issue. Injuries could derail it. Patrick Graham's defense has to show real improvement, but anyone calling this a punt year isn't paying attention. This is step one of building a team that actually looks like the Raiders. Pete Carroll isn't here to tank. He's here to compete now, while laying the foundation for the future. Tom Brady sees it. Howie Long sees it. And if you look past the noise, you can see it too. Before we wrap this up, let's talk about how the outside world is seeing the Raiders right now. The latest NFL power rankings have Vegas hovering near the bottom, sitting anywhere from 18th to 28th, depending on the outlet. Most analysts agree on one thing: Pete Carroll's first year is going to bring improvement, but this is a brutal division. Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, and Brock Bowers give the offense some serious upside. A unit that should finally sustain drives and put points on the board. The real question mark is on defense. Outside of Maxx Crosby, there are too many unproven pieces, especially in the secondary, where Carroll is leaning heavily on youth. Some analysts love the leadership and culture change Pete brings, while others are taking a wait-and-see approach, pointing out that the Raiders' improvement might not always show up in the win column right away. The vibe? Vegas has talent and a coach who knows how to win, but they've still got to prove it when the games count. So, the bottom line is, with better coaching, smarter decisions, and a quarterback who won't fold under pressure, the Raiders are going to surprise people this year. It won't be easy, not in this division, but for the first time in a long time, it feels like there's a real plan. And when this team starts playing Raider football again, watch out, because there's nothing the league fears more than a Raiders team that knows who it is. Just win, baby.